Did you just land your very first freelance job and you're super excited, but you also have no idea what you're doing? If so, you're exactly how I was when I first started freelancing. I'm about to tell you the mistakes I made, what never to do when you start freelancing, and how to have a successful freelancing career. I myself am a freelance illustrator and designer, and my goal for this channel is to help you build your art career so that you can have the freedom to work from home and follow your dreams of being a full-time freelance artist. My name is Eliza Fortney and welcome to my channel. If you want a very special coupon code for my sticker shop, make sure that you watch this video all the way to the end so you can get that coupon code and buy yourself some really cute stickers for a really awesome price. Now, let's get into the video. You should never ever start a freelance project without doing this first. Set up a contract. Now, it doesn't have to be a super elaborate contract, but it should be professional and it should clearly outline the due dates for the project, what's expected for the project, and how many edits you're willing to make for the project with the specific budget they've given you. I can't tell you how many times when I first started out, I did not specify how many edits that my clients could request, and they ended up requesting so many edits, and I spent so many hours on a project that was supposed to be just a quick project. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, like a portrait, for example. It's supposed to be a quick portrait, but they kept requesting change after change after change, and I was still a new freelancer, so I wanted to impress them, and it just didn't go well. The project ended up going on forever, so always specify how many changes you're willing to make. So for contracts, there's a lot of different ways you can set them up. The main two ways for me have been by milestone and by fixed price. So the fixed price it's just the one-time payment that you get paid at the end of the project, and that's it. Where milestones, you get paid little bits throughout the project. So for example, I did a children's book and I did all of the work and I got paid at the very end of the project. Now, if you're just starting out, I really do not recommend this because I only have fixed prices with clients that I am familiar with, that I know are going to pay me because I trust them and I have worked with them before, and they are also professional companies, so I know they're going to pay me. However, if you are starting out with just small projects, say it's a pet portrait, for example, I really recommend setting up milestones. What I like to do is I like to set up a payment after the sketch phase, and if it's a large project, I might set up a second milestone payment. But usually if it's a small to medium-sized project, I'll set up a milestone payment where I'll be paid half of the price of the commission after the sketches have been delivered. Another important tip: always put a watermark over your final images when you send it to your clients. I also never send my clients the actual art file until I've been paid the last milestone price. So for example, I did a greeting card design. I got paid after the sketch phase, half the price of the full commission, and then I did the illustration. I sent them just a screenshot, not the full resolution file, with a watermark over it for approval. And then once they gave me approval for the design, I submitted it through Upwork and they approved my final payment. It really helps protect you in the long run, setting up watermarks over your artwork and also setting up milestones to be paid a little bit at a time throughout the project. That way, say something happens or the client is maybe just not an honest person and decides that, oh, they received your final portrait, but they have the final file now. They don't really have to pay you since they have what they want and you sent them the final artwork and you never got paid. I know that that's happened before to me and to a lot of my art friends, so please be careful. Don't let this happen to you. Set up a contract, set up milestones, and put watermarks over your work. This is another really important tip. Never go straight for the final art unless the client specifically tells you, I want you to just create a piece of art and I don't care what it looks like, just go for it. I have never had a client tell me this. I first learned this tip from one of my favorite college professors in my freshman year. He said, always start with sketches. This has been one of the most important takeaways that I have applied to all the freelance work I've gotten. I know it's a small tip and it seems pretty simple and straightforward, but I cannot stress how important this really is. I have had a lot of clients actually tell me that I wasn't their first choice oh well. But they had hired a previous artist, and that artist just went straight to a final piece of art. They signed the contract and they gave them a final piece of art, and the client wasn't exactly happy with it. They weren't unhappy with it, but it wasn't really what they were looking for. And because of that, they ended up calling me instead as their second choice, and I ended up getting the full project. So there's a couple of reasons why starting with sketches is really important. One, it is going to help your client have a variety to choose from. So say you get commissioned to do a book cover design. You're going to create some different variations of the characters, some different variations of the cover layout, etc. And you want to start out in very rough sketches for this, because you do not want to go ahead and create a final piece of art and then have the client give you all these changes, and now those changes are going to take you forever to fix because you have this final piece of art. Sometimes it's a traditional piece of art, which is not easy to make big changes to. Start out with sketches to give your clients a variety to choose from, and it also saves you so much time. I cannot stress this enough. I have always started out with rough sketches. Sometimes I thought I knew what the client wanted, and I ended up doing not a final piece of art, but much more detailed sketches than I probably should have. And then the client just turned around and was like, no, I don't really want that. That wasn't the direction I was going in. And I wasted so much time on something that really should have just been a very rough sketch to help the client get the idea. Always start with sketches. It's going to save you and your client so much time, and it's going to make the client really happy because they are going to be able to have input in your artistic process. And when you're freelancing, when you're working with other people, you have to be open to that. Be open to critiques and be open to making changes, because ultimately the client is the person who commissioned you to do something. This is their project too. So in the case that the client does actually just stop communicating with you after the sketch phase, I have actually had this happen before. At least you will have your sketch payment, and if they have not paid you for the sketches, at least you have not lost nearly as much. I was so thankful, guys, that I did this with one of my projects, because I really don't know what happened to this client. I hope they're okay, but they just kind of fell off the face of the earth. I never heard from them after I sent them some sketches, and honestly, I didn't really feel all that terrible for myself because I didn't lose out on that much. I did not spend a ton of time on these sketches. I did a little bit of research, and I quickly sketched up some concepts and asked the client if this is what they were looking for, if this is what they had in mind, and I never heard back. But honestly, maybe I lost out on 20 minutes in total. Whereas if I had just done the whole project, I would have wasted hours and hours and never heard back from these people, and they might have actually taken the final art and just never paid for it. Now, I do follow up with my clients. This is another important tip. So if you have written to a client, sometimes people are just slow about getting back. Try to space out your follow-ups. I usually try to do my first follow-up after 3 days, my second follow-up after 1 week, and if I still haven't heard from them, I'll do one final third follow-up after 2 weeks. And after that, I just won't bug them anymore because they probably don't want to work with me at that point, or they're having some kind of crisis they just need to deal with. So follow up with your clients maximum of 3 times, and then if they don't get back to you, it's okay. There's going to be a lot of other freelance projects out there for you, I promise. And if you are still having trouble finding freelance projects, again, check out the link below where I talk about how to find your first freelance project. So I really hope these tips have been helpful. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. I'm going to be making a lot more art videos similar to this to help you be prepared for the freelancing art world and to build your art business so you can be an independent artist doing what you love full time.